for tuning into the Boardroom, where we highlight important updates, discussions, and decisions from each monthly Atlanta Public Schools board meeting. I am Sharice Darby, and this is an inside view of the Boardroom from the September 9th meeting. Chief Financial Officer Chuck Burbridge presented the financial forecast before the board at the September 9th meeting. According to Burbridge, the district ended its fiscal year better than expected. The school district had $83.7 million in reserves when the 2013 fiscal year ended on June 30th, and it expects to spend $25.3 million of those reserves this year to help balance the budget, leaving a $58.4 million fund balance.
As the revenue and expenditure data indicate, the fiscal year turned out in many ways much better than we had anticipated when we first started the year. Expenditures of $577.2 million is just a couple million under the appropriation authority provided to us by the board, which was approximately $580 million. So we did manage our resources to stay within the appropriation authority, as we should. Revenue was a bit of a surprise in FY13. We probably the biggest surprise was the E-rate. We received about $10 million more in E-rate than we even anticipated.
Burbridge said Atlanta Public Schools received more revenue than expected from property taxes, car taxes, and the federal E-rate program. Additionally, the board engaged in lengthy discussions surrounding the transition from a small school structure to small learning communities at Washington High School. The board approved the transition of Booker T. Washington High School's small schools into small learning communities. In 2006, the district transitioned high schools from the comprehensive high school model to small schools, or small learning communities. The small schools model included the funding of one principal for each of the small schools and the allocation of all other costs for each school on a school-by-school basis. Booker T. Washington High School was among the first schools to be redesigned into the new small schools model, which included 3 small theme-based schools on one campus with a college prep focus. This included banking, finance, and investment, early college, and health science and nutrition. There is some evidence of progress in student achievement at Washington High School. However, there has been a decline in attendance and the graduation rate, and 2 of the 3 schools appeared on the Georgia Department of Education's list of priority schools. These and other factors prompted further review into the small schools model at Washington High School. The district wishes to continue to provide 21st century high school academic experiences that include personalization, rigor, relevance, and relationships with accountability and choice. Therefore, the superintendent is proposing the closing of the 3 small schools at Booker T. Washington High School, banking, finance, and investment, early college, and health science and nutrition, and the transition of the small schools into small learning communities in June 2014. According to the superintendent, the transition of Booker T. Washington High School to small learning communities will provide better distribution of resources, more access to additional course offerings such as fine arts, CTAE, and advanced preparatory classes, as well as more equity, cohesive planning, and implementation of campus-wide scheduling, testing, registration, and school activities. The transition of Booker T. Washington High School to small learning communities will also provide for 1 leader and 3 academy leaders to foster more collaboration among leadership and an improved unified school culture and climate. The Atlanta Board of Education at its September 9th, 2013 official meeting, along with the system superintendent, has considered and approved the transition of Booker T. Washington High School small schools to small learning communities and provided for the hiring as soon as practical of a school leader to accelerate and guide the transition process, as well as provide oversight to the operations of the school. The administration, with advice from Mr. Byron D. Amos, Educational District 2 representative, will form a community-based advisory committee comprised of a student and educational and business stakeholders of the Washington High School community to advise the school leader in the creation of the transition plan. The Atlanta Board of Education approved several agenda items around tenure for district employees at the September 9th board meeting. The Atlanta Public Schools hired 286 certified employees after the first day of the 2013-14 school year and the first day of the 2010-2011 school year. These employees are eligible for tenure upon the issuance and acceptance of a 4th consecutive full-year contract. Of the 286, 66 are being recommended for non-renewal or have separated from the district. The remaining 220 employees were recommended by the principal or their supervisor and approved by the executive director to receive a fourth consecutive full-year contract. The superintendent recommended that these 220 hired after August 2009 receive tenure as they have performed satisfactorily and have met all criteria established by the Atlanta Board of Education to ensure an exemplary staff and improve student achievement. Additionally, Atlanta Public Schools hired 85 certified employees for the 2011-12 and 2012-13 school years that previously held tenure with other Georgia school systems. Atlanta Public Schools also rehired 23 certified employees for the 2011-12 and 2012-13 school years that previously held tenure with Atlanta Public Schools. The superintendent recommended that these 85 employees and the 23 rehired employees receive tenure through the issuance of a second consecutive full-year contract, as they also have performed satisfactorily and have met all criteria established by the Atlanta Board of Education to ensure an exemplary staff and improve student achievement. The lease agreement with Peachtree Road United Methodist Church was an important agenda item at the September 9th board meeting. The superintendent recommended that the board authorize him to execute a lease agreement with the Peachtree Road United Methodist Church. The Peachtree Road United Methodist Church has leased the field at E. Rivers Elementary School since 2000. Due to the construction and renovation of the E. Rivers Elementary School site, PRUMC has requested to lease the field at the E. Rivers temporary site, which is at the former Sutton Middle School, 4360 Powers Ferry Road, to provide a venue for their sports program. According to the superintendent's recommendation, the terms of the lease will begin immediately upon approval through December 31st, 2014. The church will be responsible for the year-round maintenance and cleanliness of the field, including grass mowing and fertilizing. E. Rivers Elementary School and the district's activities will take priority for the use of the athletic field. Many community members voiced their opinions about the use of the field before the board.
Should this board approve item 4.04 on the agenda and authorize the superintendent to execute a lease for Peachtree Road United Methodist Church to use the athletic fields at E. Rivers, this board will have violated the very rules it has been sworn to protect. The proposed lease agreement indisputably violates APS Board Policy KG. This policy states that school property may not be rented to third parties unless the contracting organization is primarily interested in presenting a program of educational value rather than making a profit, even though the proceeds may be intended for a worthy cause. Board members, the proposed lease benefits a church-sponsored sports league that has absolutely nothing to do with education. You must honor your oath, adhere to Policy KG, and deny the lease.
The Chastain, some folks in Chastain are hoping to limit our use of the field at E. Rivers right now, which is the Powers Ferry location. And I'm requesting that we don't allow that to happen. The relationship that E. Rivers has had with Peachtree Road United Methodist Church since 1974, and where I can speak to in the last 8 years, has been one that is really, really imperative to the school, not just with the money that is spent, but the upkeep of the fields.
The board voted to authorize the superintendent to enter into a lease agreement with the Peachtree Road United Methodist Church for the soccer field at the temporary E. Rivers Elementary School site. The Atlanta Board of Education authorized the superintendent to execute contracts with the Association for Supervision and Curriculum Development, Cambium Education, Inc., Carnegie Learning, Inc., Educational Impact, Learning Bridges, Knowledge Delivery Systems, Inc., School Improvement Network, and Teachscape, Inc. to provide professional learning content and services in September 2011. The superintendent recommended that the Atlanta Board of Education amend the original report to increase the authorized amount from $1 million to $1.3 million. This represents an increase of $300,000 from the current authorized expenditure amount. This request to amend the previous action item will allow the district to purchase online content specific to Common Core. Specifically, the district will purchase online video footage of master teachers providing instruction that is aligned to the Common Core Georgia performance standards. The board voted to approve the increase for the authorized amount. The additional funds are available in the Race to the Top grant. The board also voted to authorize the superintendent to enter into and execute a contract with Education Logistics to provide tablets, which will utilize existing GPS systems on school buses to provide turn-by-turn directions to bus drivers when driving routes. This contract shall be for 1 year with 4 one-year available options to be exercised at the discretion of the superintendent. The purchase will also include the cost of purchasing and licensing all applicable software required to make the devices functional. This solution will enhance safety and ensure the consistency of services provided by the Transportation Department and eliminate issues with pickup and drop-off of APS students. Atlanta Public Schools wishes to enter into a partnership with Sheltering Arms, Inc. and the Annie E. Casey Foundation. The collaboration will support early learning initiatives in the community. Atlanta Public Schools will lease a portion of the land at the current D.H. Stanton Elementary School site to Sheltering Arms, Inc. and the Annie E. Casey Foundation to build and operate an early learning program. The ground lease will be for 20 years with 2 5-year renewal options. The organizations will be responsible for the construction costs as well as their operating expenses, maintenance, utilities, and insurance requirements. The board voted to authorize the superintendent to execute the lease agreement. Approximately 60 students marched across the stage on September 12th to collect their high school diplomas after successfully completing their remaining graduation requirements during the summer. Board members, district leaders, and staff were in attendance to congratulate the summer class of 2013 at the ceremony held at the D.M. Thurl Educational Complex. Stakeholders are given an opportunity to speak publicly to the board each month at the board meeting. Several of the public comments at the September 9th meeting focused on adequate compensation for bus drivers, the use of the soccer field at E. Rivers Elementary School, and the transition from small schools to small learning communities at Booker T. Washington High School. Let's take a brief look at a few of the night's public comments.
Good afternoon. I'm Claire Murray. I'm a resident of Chastain Park, and I'm also a mother of 3 children that are under the age of 4. And I will say that my property does abut the athletic field that is in use in this particular instance. Time and time again, we've battled this issue. However, every other request for use of this specific field located at the former Sutton, currently E. Rivers, has been denied by other private organizations due to the impact it has on our neighborhood. Why is PRUMC an exception? You're going to hear sympathetic pleas from the PTA as probably from the principal of the benefits that the school receives. But this is not about money. This is about following policies and the law. The board should deny the request for this lease for several reasons. As Ms. Butler-Burks pointed out earlier, it was not timely submitted. It clearly violates APS's own policies. This board should not even consider it today. Second, the usage is not consistent with policy KG. Third, PRUMC is a private organization and it has to follow the zoning rules of this residentially zoned community.
Hello, my name is Charles Aiken. I am the Director of Sports, Recreation, and Life Enrichment at Peachtree Road United Methodist Church. And I will be speaking primarily in that capacity today. I am not an attorney. I am certainly not a constitutional law expert. But I will say that I can think of many instances in our society as a whole where the intersection of the church and the state come together in the area of service to the community. And that's why churches in an urban area like Atlanta get into running youth sports programs. Real estate value is so high, churches can't afford to go out and buy real estate to run programs. So they rely on the local schools, particularly elementary schools who have fields, because generally elementary school fields don't have their own sports programs going on those fields. It happens at every school in the area. When we heard that E. Rivers was going to be changing locations temporarily, we were on a mad search to try to find a field to move our program to. Could not find one. When the opportunity came to consider using going along with the school to the new field, it was a savior to us, to the program.
Hello, I am a Booker T. Washington High School early college student in the 11th grade, and I'm very concerned because I feel like the proposed plan is half developed and has not taken into consideration how this would affect the students. I say this because in previous meetings, I asked the panel members, will we be on a 4x4 or a 4x8 schedule? They replied to me saying that is to be determined. And in order to continue the dual enrollment program, we cannot be on A-Day and B-Day schedule. I also asked, what if this does not work? What is Plan B? They said, we cannot tell the future. This is just a proposed plan. It almost seems to me that we are playing trial and error with kids' education. And to me, that is offensive because I won't stand for it. And if we do continue to do this, this can have a direct effect on children's emotional life.
Good evening. I am Cassandra Rainey, and I stand before you today with two concerns. First, if Booker T. Washington was one school, one principal, with 3 small learning communities, our students in early college and other schools at Booker T. Washington High School will not have to have substitute teachers in core subjects. The teachers could be shared among every school. Right now, early college has a substitute chemistry teacher every other day. Again, how will they be prepared to pass the end of the course test? My next concern, please, I would like for you all to communicate with your administrators, staff, teachers, everybody at every school to welcome parents into their schools and not retaliate against parents who stand up and advocate for the rights of all children. I will stand here and say to the day that I die, I am an advocate for children. I advocate for them every single day, and I hold everyone accountable in the school system for my child's education and every child's education. I will say it to the day I die. Every child deserves a free, appropriate public education.
Thank you for allowing me to speak this evening. My name is Erica Tetens. I've been a school bus driver since 2002, and this is my second year at APS. Many of my coworkers have mentioned not being paid either here or at other venues, but I think this is indicative of the larger issues we face. The vast majority of APS bus drivers and monitors care immensely about the children we transport. That is why we complain about safety problems on the buses and lack of support when we ask for help with behavior issues. If we try to correct small behaviors before big problems occur, we should be supported instead of reprimanded. I am working with very supportive schools and parents at Morris Brandon and Sutton, but I have a coworker who was reprimanded and retrained for writing up students. Ignoring unsafe behavior instead of teaching children better ways to interact or follow safety rules makes it less safe and enjoyable for the other students and is a disservice to that particular child. Also, drivers have been transferred because of one complaint, which breaks up trusted relationships and again makes it harder for us to improve the environment for the other students, because now there are 2 routes with drivers who don't know the route or the students, don't know the best method to get a particular student to behave, don't know who is to meet a particular student, and don't know who cannot be seated with whom for safety. That stability and knowledge is vital to transporting our riders in the safest possible manner. Remember, parents may see teachers and administrators only 2 or 3 times a year, but they see the bus driver every day. As I said at the beginning, these issues indicate the way in which drivers are devalued. We carry the city's most valuable cargo, and our input and work should be valued accordingly. I am an hourly driver for APS currently and was not affected by the 5-day loss, but I don't think it is fair for others to lose funds they were depending on because the calendar changed. Also, although I was lucky, some hourly drivers were not paid either, but getting paid for the work we do should not depend on luck. Treat the bus drivers and monitors with the dignity they deserve and show the children that the adults who deal with them daily are valued by the community. Thank you.
Be sure to tune in each month for information regarding the Atlanta Board of Education and important agenda items from monthly board meetings. The next board meeting will be held on October 7th, 2013 at the Center for Learning and Leadership, located at 130 Trinity Avenue Southwest, Atlanta, Georgia 30303. Stakeholders who would like to provide public comments during the monthly Committee of the Whole meeting should contact the board office at least 1 hour prior to the scheduled start time of the Committee of the Whole meeting by calling 404-802-2200. Stakeholders wishing to address the board during the community meeting must register in person at the sign-in table from 5:00 p.m. to 5:50 p.m. on the day of the community meeting. Community members must list their names and the agenda item or topic they wish to address, and they will be given up to 2 minutes to address the board. Thank you for tuning in. At APS, we are renewing our commitment to you.